What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television. I want to thank all of you for stopping by today. As Christmas is wrapping up, happy belated Christmas if you celebrate. New Year's is coming, and as we're closing out this particular year of 2025, in less than a week at this time of recording, we're going to be getting into Absolute Batman, issue 7. We're done with the first story, The Zoo, and we're getting into the next story arc involving Mr. Freeze, so to speak, Victor Freeze. But this has a different take on the character completely, much like this series has been doing so far, along with the absolute Wonder Woman, absolute Superman, absolute Martian Manhunter. There's also a absolute Green Lantern series out. And I will say that even though we're not covering those other titles here at the channel, go check them out because based off of the reviews from other creators like Rob from Comics Explained and those other comics breakdown, you'll be able to get a gist of what's going on in the rest of the universe, so to speak, which was created off of dark side energy. Uh, Long story short, when Darkseid was killed, his release of energy created this universe that really puts our heroes at a disadvantage because of just being so uh, Darkseid's so emo, okay, that the universe that was created due to his energy, it just gives our heroes such a disadvantage that basically, if you think they have it rough in the real world, so to speak, from the main reality, it's even worse in this reality, okay? But like I said, this particular issue starts off a new story involving Victor Freeze. This issue again was written by Scott Snyder. Artist is Marcus Martin, and that particular cover was done by Nick DeGrotto and Frank Martin. Now, in this particular series, uh, Bruce has been recovering for a few weeks from the party animal incident and fight, right? Pennywise is off doing a quick mission somewhere else collecting information, but has been helping Batman slash Bruce here and there. But lately, uh, what's been going on is Bruce has been wanting to know what's been going on in the Ark M site that's being built near Gotham, okay? As we know, that's being put together by the Joker, okay? And we come kind of a step closer to finding out what's going on with that particular location because Bruce decided to ask his friend Matches Malone, which is a callback to the original Batman lore of that Matches Malone, instead of being a separate person, was a secret identity of Bruce. He would use the Matches Malone name going undercover, but in this absolute universe, Matches Malone is a separate entity. He is one of the friends that grew up with Bruce, along with Oswald, Selina, these other people. Edward Nigma, right? Whalen. And Matches was the hothead. I'm not going to say the hothead, but very much wanting to do things on a dare, even though no one dared him to do it. He just was very much about. He was a risk taker. Okay, maybe that was a great way of putting it. He was a risk taker, and recently As far as his job was concerned, he would make like fake IDs and stuff that were really good. And Bruce wanted to get some paperwork that would allow him to work at Ark M as one of the crew because of everything that was happening with the party animal story. Gotham had put in a curfew. They stopped construction work and everything at the time. So Bruce has been out of work. But whether he's been out of work or not, he wants to find out what's going on inside that building, okay? And he thought that by involving matches, he would just be able to get the ID and then that's it. But what has happened is something unexpected, so to speak. Here is Bruce meeting up with matches. And again, you can just see how big Bruce is compared to other people. They really made him like a shit brick house. So, like I said, Bruce was trying to get this paperwork to start working at Ark M, but Matches here told him to, not that, told him not to do it, but in order to make sure that what he was producing for Bruce was valid, he made himself some of these working papers and decided to go in himself and take some evidence. And Bruce gets a little upset at him because he's like, I didn't ask you to do that. And because of this, Matches winds up getting taken out. And Bruce is obviously upset, obviously unsure what's going on, but is now even more convinced that what he's doing needs to be investigated even more. Also, his group of friends here, I just want to make sure that I kind of get into this, are confronting him about being Batman. They know he's Batman now because of Wayland helping him last issue with the plane, right, where Bruce jumps out to take on the Black Mask. All right, so he's not really giving them much information, but they're kind of pissed and realize that they all been being used by Bruce in their own way, and they're questioning whether they're Bruce's friend or not now to Bruce. So we're gonna see the fallout of being Bruce's friend at this time now that Batman is a known secret amongst them. I also wanted to point out how we get the first page here of Victor Freeze with his father. Now, Victor Freeze, the Mr. Freeze we know, his motivation was to save his wife from a rare disease. And to do that, he put her on ice, so to speak, cryogenic suspension, until there was a cure found. In this particular version of Mr. Freeze, Victor Freeze, we're dealing with Victor Freeze's son. And Victor Freeze and his wife Nora are on ice. This Victor Jr., had put them on ice, turning them into basically zombies in which he can control. And we're going to get into his origin in a few moments here. But with Matches now being taken out, Bruce is trying to really get a hold of what's really going on. He's trying to, like I said, figure things out with, here's Batman, just doing some Batman stuff. He's been trying to keep low because of the curfew and everything, but he's still trying to make his presence known. And finally, Batman does make his way to the company V Corps, which is owned by Victor Freeze II. Now, what the ultimate goal is to try to find out what the connection to VCore is with Ark M, okay? And Bruce is now in the office of Ark M, I'm sorry, VCore with Victor Freeze II. Here's his parents on ice. I'm telling you, these villains, though, have been looking diabolical right out of nightmares, have been behaving like they're right out of nightmares. Now, Victor Freeze's parents were studying things in ancient ice. Okay, ice that's been here since before there was even people walking around going ooga booga, all right, with sticks and trying to create fire. And they discovered a bacterium in which it made Victor Freeze II severely sick. His parents put him on ice, cryogenic suspension, to find a cure, and they did find a cure. But being it took so long to find a cure, Victor Freeze during that time was able to feel everything in that ice. All the pain that came with it, all the nerves on everything that he basically went insane because of all that pain. They may have saved his body, but they were unable to save his mind. And when he got out of that ice, he kind of went a little kooky, all right, and put his parents on the ice. And he could be able to control them while in this state, I guess, right? From my research, from what I've been looking up. And now he explains his past with, working with his parents and coming across and getting sick and everything. And throughout the issue, we see his friends kind of foreshadowing certain things like if you don't walk away from being Batman, you're going to die. We can't let you keep doing this. What are you doing? And basically, uh, Bruce has been going under the Pennyworth name with the paperwork, but Victor Freeze seems to know that Bruce is there to investigate and basically exposes himself as exposes himself in his true form here. Holy moly, that's frightening. And basically is going to take Bruce captive. And who's to say what he's going to do to Bruce? Now, that's obviously where we end this issue. We're going to see how much Bruce goes through because if this Victor can put his parents on ice the way he did, who's to say what he'll do to someone who he feels is trying to take away his life and his process and everything that he was able to gain, right, since being cured, and what his ultimate goal is with aligning with the Joker, with aligning to create, to be the one to set up experiments basically on people in Arkham. Obviously, Bruce is always going to come out on top. Batman always wins, right? So to speak, in a lot of ways. But I like this version of Batman. I like this version of Bruce because it's not a Bruce that has an answer to everything yet. He f's up and then he gets effed up by his enemies because he doesn't have that foresight. This Batman and Bruce doesn't have the foresight that our Batman that we're used to having, seeing. He doesn't have that foresight of decades of being Batman, right? And this Batman has only been a Batman for not that long in the greater scheme of things, right? So I do like this version of Victor Freeze. I think that even though the Victor Freeze we know is a more sympathetic villain, here, when a person has a mental breakdown, there's really no reasoning with them. There's only winning by force sometimes, and that's where Batman's ethics and morals come up. The no kill rule, right? You don't want to kill anybody, but what do you do with someone that just keeps coming back and destroying people, and destroying property, and destroying the city, and destroying this and destroying that? How many times can they? How many people? How many things can be destroyed by this person before you finally are like, enough? So I like that's still a thing for Batman, right? Where we want to try to not. We still try to stick to the no kill rule, but being this universe is a little bit more vicious. It's going to be interesting to see how Bruce keeps his morals and ethics together as Gotham's villains keep progressively getting worse. Things that happen to people in his life keep progressively getting worse. To see the downfall of Bruce. You let me know down below what you're thinking of this series, what you're thinking of this issue, and until next time, peace.